Today, it's never been more important for organisations to create inclusive workplaces where people from all backgrounds can thrive, whoever they are. But we all have a role to play.
I do remember the first day that I came to work female, and I parked my car in the car park, and I just stood there thinking, what have you done? One of the guys in my tax department who I've known for many years, he said, come on, I'll walk in with you. That was just incredible support.
So I think ultimately inclusivity is fundamentally about being a good person and a good citizen.
Being from two cultures, people assume that you're going to choose one over the other.
From my experience, when people make assumptions about someone, that is the first step to making someone feel excluded.
To highlight the importance of inclusion, ICAEW held an innovative one-day drama workshop designed to inspire chartered accountants to champion the power of inclusion in their own organisations.
What comes to my mind when I think about diversity and inclusion? It's a place where I don't feel isolated, I feel welcome. But not only me feel welcome, everybody really feels welcome.
We brought together chartered accountants from across the UK, working in a wide range of roles in practice and in business.
More than most professions, there's a problem. There is a distinct lack of diversity in the majority of accounting firms that you walk into.
We started the day with an exercise about unconscious bias, encouraging the group to explore their similarities and differences.
Okay, folks, I'm going to give you all a card. Okay, so now, in silence, please, I want you to form groups.
Although the trainer asked everyone to form groups, she didn't explain how.
What did you do instinctively?
Our attendees joined up with others based on the similarity of the coloured-shaped cards they were given, but some of them didn't find a match.
What did you see on your card?
I saw two colours in a rectangle, and there was no one who met either of those qualities, so I thought I'd embrace being individual.
Does anyone identify with that?
I look completely one culture.
Deborah is a strategic advisor and deputy president of the London Society of Chartered Accountants.
Half of my culture is West Indian, the other half of my culture is West African. They have a lot of similarities, but they are very, very different. People think that all black people are the same, but having more than one culture or more than one ethnicity that encompasses who you are is never more nuanced than being part of the black community. I'm very English, I'm very West Indian, and I'm very West African. I have the opportunity to live 3 heritage lives, which gives huge benefit when you're talking about engaging with people from different communities.
I empathise with you because I grew up, my mother's Italian and a Catholic. My father's from Pakistan and my mother's Italian. Both were immigrants in the 60s for different reasons, but they ended up in the melting pot that is Croydon.
Tom has been an insolvency practitioner for over 15 years.
In the household, there was space for my father to be a Muslim, and there was space for my mother to be a Catholic. Mother could go to church if she wanted to on a Sunday. Dad could go to mosque on a Friday. It's not as if one person has to lose. You can have a win-win in compromise, and I saw that a lot. So what I take from it is, don't judge a book by its cover. Try to be confident enough to be open to learn.
The discussion about the way that we can group each other into categories encouraged other attendees to talk about their differences.
I am treated for anxiety and depression. So you can't see that. We've been talking about that and everybody immediately went to, well, I'm male, I'm female, I'm person of colour, whatever it is. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can't see.
For Holly, who completed her ACA instead of going to university and is now a treasury accountant, her different life experience is also invisible.
I was diagnosed as an adult with ADHD, so just 6 months ago. I really actually struggled to bring it up in conversation. It's quite a new topic. I feel like in diversity, neurodiversity is quite often overlooked because it is very much invisible. I spent a lot of time covering up the symptoms of it. So a huge thing for me is procrastinating tasks that take a lot of mental energy. And I was worried that opening up and telling my manager that I have ADHD was it was opening me up to admitting that in some situations I wasn't doing maybe what he was expecting. For me, having that conversation kind of unleashed that potential that I hadn't been able to display. And that really difficult conversation kind of removed that ceiling for me and that limit.
Does anyone identify with this?
For Isabella, a partner at an accountancy firm, the process of deciding whether to join any group at all was hard.
I think being trans, I just don't fit in. So I don't fit in with the female group, I don't fit in with the male group, I don't even fit in with the trans group. So I knew from the age of 3 or 4 that I was in the wrong body. I knew that although genetically I was born male, mentally I was female. And in my case, that manifested itself with depression, clinical depression, and anxiety. And I was ashamed of being trans. How was the feeling at 52 of making a decision to transition? It was euphoric. It was being reborn. Yes, I may present female. As soon as I start talking, I spent a fortune on voice coaching and surgery, but it's not going to change this voice. The support has been magnificent, and if you're working with supportive people, then your journey will be okay. They will support you through it. And if they're not supportive, go somewhere else.
The workshop used actors to reenact familiar workplace encounters.
Women's champion is our Caroline.
The group could suggest alternative ways for encounters to play out, helping them to consider how to challenge certain behaviour in real life. In one of these scenes, a female employee had lost out on a promotion to a male colleague. Barbara has been an accountant for 40 years and has seen gender roles change over that time.
So I've been listening to what everyone said. Let's cut to the chase. Do women just finally need to have a voice after this length of time? Let's be more daring and brave. We could be having this conversation in 10 years when I'm on my retirement pension and people will be saying, we're almost there. We're not almost there. The statistics prove that even 40 years on, women need to be braver. In your position, I'd probably struggle to have that conversation, but I think if you don't do it now, when will it get done?
This could have been a great opportunity for you to maybe ask me to be on the project.
The workshop was a chance for chartered accountants to learn more about inclusion.
I've worked at 4 different accounting firms and I recognise all of the behaviour. Hopefully we will actually action something and take it back to wherever it is we work.
What I'm going to take back to the office is being braver myself. I mean, these conversations aren't easy and we need to be brave to have them, but also challenge other people to be brave and to have these conversations. And then over time, I think it will become a safer environment and they won't be so difficult in the future.
One of the joyful things about being open to other views and ideas and perspectives is that you've got to listen. We might trip upon a bit of wisdom, a new idea, a new perspective that's really fantastic, and you wouldn't have seen it that way.
The reality is it should be embedded into the way that you do your work. It should be embedded into the way that we hire, have our everyday interactions, the way we run our meetings, the way we run our evaluations. The definition of best candidate for the job needs to be redefined.
ICAEW is working really hard to improve diversity and inclusion in the profession and has been for a while. We're not there yet and we're aware of that. It's an ongoing process. Everyone is welcome in the accountancy profession. Not everyone has always felt that way, but that's something we really want to change. Diversity and inclusion, welcoming people from all different backgrounds is essential to success in the profession.
I think a real important part of companies and firms being inclusive is encouraging people to be vulnerable and aware that they're not an expert in everything and they can't preempt everyone's thoughts, feelings, family lives, what goes on outside of work. It just gives you that opportunity to be open to them as individuals and be curious, learn more about them. That's the first step in breaking down the barriers that will lead to a more inclusive environment for everyone.